What is going on, guys? George Gonzalez. We're living in Houston, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Biden proposed plans for first-time home buyers, and then the newest bill that has been somewhere in the House or the Senate. I'm not too into that, but let's talk about what it includes, what this means, and how it can benefit you. So if you're following along, you're watching this video about this channel is all about living in Houston, all the different neighborhoods, suburbs, things that are going on. So we're going to be talking about this bill and how it applies to Houston. So let's get into this. All right, so what we have here is a couple of notes here. I'm going to show my screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see here, and okay, so we're going to sync this. In 3, oop, cut that out. There you go. Sync it in 3, 2, 1. So let's first back it up here. This is going to be a little bit longer video, but let's talk about the this first proposed bill that we had going on. This one is no longer, most likely not going to survive, or hasn't survived. I don't know. But this came out first, and then we'll go into the second one, this latest one that came out. So in this one, what we have is this is kind of like a first-time home buyer slash social inequality, basically trying to help socially disproportionately affected people to get a house. So fumbled that a bit, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. That's what this bill is about. So what it was proposing is $20,000 towards first-time home buyers, or in the case of socially and economically disadvantaged individuals, an additional $5,000 for a total of $25,000 towards your first-time home purchase. So in this program here, I'm going to go through it because this is actually the bill. I went through the parts that are applicable and that could benefit you. So the main thing on this one is there was an income qualifier, so they're trying to make sure that people that don't make a lot of money, obviously the ones that need the help. In this one, we're looking at 120% of the median income of the area. So usually this will be determined by census, what the median income is. So you cannot make more than 120 to qualify for this program. Okay. And that they base it off of where you are living. Okay, and then and if you live in a high-cost area, so like your New York City's, San Francisco, Seattle, I'm drawing a blank on these higher markets, they bump it up to 180 of the median income. Okay. So how do they qualify a first-time home buyer? Well, there's different qualifications. So in this scenario, you would have to have not owned a house for the prior 3 years before going for this assistance, and also your parents would have not have been homeowners for 3 years as well. So that's what they're looking for in this bill. Or another issue here, if let's just say your parents did own a home, but if they had lost it, then that would still qualify. Even if they own a home but they lost it to a foreclosure, deed in lieu foreclosure, they would still qualify. Let's see here, and then of course, if you're married, your spouse has to qualify as well. So they don't want people just saying, hey, you're my XYZ, whatever, just so I can get a house. Both have to fall within these qualifications. All right. This is pretty generous. So if you've been in foster care, so you've never had your own home, they also add this to that disadvantaged group. Eligible homes. So if you're not too familiar with any first-time homebuyer programs, this is going to be for single-family dwellings. So they're not, you can't apply this to apartment buildings. So it has to be a 1 to 4, which is actually pretty good depending on your market. As it applies to Houston, probably won't apply very well because of the price point. But if you live in an area where a 4-unit single family house is in the price point, this is a great opportunity. But unfortunately, Houston probably not going to work. Let's see here, 100% of the amount. Yep, and then what they're going to do, it's not a loan, so you don't have to pay it back. You have to be in the house for a certain period of time. So what they'll do is after 5 years, it will be fully forgiven, and then it actually decreases every year. So for whatever reason you have to move after 1 to 4 years, you will owe that money back, but in this case it cannot exceed more than you owe on the property. So simple example is let's just say you have to sell the house, and there's not much equity, and then you still have to pay this back. They're not going to have, let's just say you're closing, you're selling the house, and you're breaking even. According to this bill, they will not add on top of that and cause you to owe them money. This is essentially what it's saying. This is telling you the breakdown of what the remaining balance is after 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, 48 months, etc. Let's see here. Eligible homes is going to be FHA. So this is going to apply to FHA. It's not going to apply to conventional loans, according to this bill. Of course, they will require you a program. Most FHA loans already do this, a home buyer certificate, home ownership course certificate. So nothing crazy there. For those of you who don't know, usually you have to pay for that. So, but it's not a whole bunch of money, but small price to pay to get into a home ownership. Okay, what else here? Okay, and then this is where they're defining the disadvantaged groups. So Black, Hispanic, Native American, Asian American, any combination thereof. So this will be socially disadvantaged. Income again cannot exceed 120% of the median income. Holocaust areas 180%. Okay, so that was what was about a month ago when I should have made this video, when this was on the floor. So now we have a new one. So let's see that one real quick. I got my notes on that one. This is the First Time Homebuyer Act. This has been bill status, I guess, is what it's called. Okay, so on this one, this is going to be more in line where what you saw back in 2008, where they were giving you a credit during tax season. So personally, I think this is probably going to be something that's more attainable to push through to make a bill sign into law. The reason I say that is it's going to be the smoothest rollout, because there's some pros to this, and hey, it just depends on where you're at, I guess. But I think overall, from the success of the 08-09 rollout of when this happened, we have some proof of concept of it. So what we go here in this act, this is going to be based on your tax year. So depending, the credit will apply when you bought the house, when that tax year was. Okay, so they're going to give you 10% of the purchase price of the house, not to exceed $15,000. So not as much as the first bill that we were talking about, but it is still, if you look back at the first time that they were discussing or the first time this was rolled out for the public, that was only 8,000, 7,000, and then they bumped it up to 8,000. So keep that in mind. And then of course, if you they talk about how they split it up if you're married, but no matter what, it's maximum of $15,000. So what else we have here? Okay, so of course we're going to have the area median income qualifiers. So always going to have that there. You definitely don't want someone that is making $1 million a year taking advantage of this program. Not that they will, but there's always going to be people that will do that. So they definitely want to focus on the people that are falling within this economic class. So 160% of the median income, and this is they're actually defining it here from the from HUD. So HUD will stipulate the median income. So that's always good when they point that out, because there's a lot of sites where you can see what the median income is. And I don't know if you're familiar with all the other programs that have been offered. With those programs, same thing. And you look at one map and it says you're in a, let's say like a low income neighborhood, and then another site tells you you're not. So very good that they're pointing it out. They're giving a reference point. All right, what else we have here? All right, so now we're qualifying. This is how you know you're a first-time home buyer. No present ownership interest in the past 3 years. So you can't have rented a house, owned investment property within the past 3 years. And yeah, so then they're most likely gonna date it based off of your closing date. So if you're really trying to push the limit, that's one thing to take into consideration. All right, this is a good one here. So you cannot be related to the person you're buying it from. So let's just say sibling or your parents say, hey, cool, I'll stay in my house. They don't want that happening. So, okay, pretty clear there. Qualifier for the house that you can buy. And it's going to be 1 to 4 single family as well. That's going to be the same thing. And look, and then that's the other thing too that I like about it. This would actually make it retroactive. So in case you bought a house as early as December 31st, 2020, they will go back and you will be able to recoup these $15,000. So essentially what's going to happen, let's just say you filed your taxes, you're not getting a tax bill, right? You don't owe anything, you don't get a refund, you will not get $15,000 due to this bill if it passes. There's no telling, but it might pass. What else here? That's pretty much it. So a couple things of how this will work. So at the moment, like I said, just want to reiterate plenty of times, this is a bill, this is not law, so there's no need to go to your lender, to your realtor. I mean, if you want to ask me questions, by all means. It's not in effect. So other thing too is it's retroactive. That's a huge bonus. So it's going to not only help people moving forward, but if you bought a house in the past year, it's going to help you as well. So huge, basically you got $15,000 that will be potentially coming your way in during this tax season, well, probably now, next tax season. And yeah, that's pretty much going to do it. So went to the bill. I didn't want to cite a website just in case they missed something. It was actually pretty hard finding the bill online. There's actually been a whole bunch proposed, but this one has actually made it to the status of a bill. So I guess it's a little bit more serious now. So definitely, something to keep on the lookout for. So what does this mean for you if you're on the market, right? You're coming here thinking about moving, or you're moving to Houston, Texas. Well, this is going to be my recommendations. Do not wait for something like this, any version of this, to pass, to then start buying your house. Because with any type of, if it's going to be like a program that's rolled out, that's paid out directly at closing, which the first proposed bill was suggesting, that definitely is going to take some time. I don't know if you're familiar with SBA, but they do a lot of things like that for small businesses, and definitely a slow moving train when it comes to that stuff. So with that being said, also the other thing to consider is if it does pass is right now in Houston, if you're in the market, kind of like a sub-market update, the market is hot. Everything right now is it's definitely a seller's market. It's just a huge buyer demand in the market right now. So what that means is if you're looking to buy, really everyone involved. If you're a seller, you're selling and you need to buy a new residence, you're going to go into this pool. If you're a buyer looking to buy a house, inventory is super low, hard to find a house, and then you're going to have to kind of reassess what your priorities or compromises are on your new house. And as soon as a variation of this passes, it's going to get even harder to get the house that you either want or can get. So if this bill passes or something, a variation of this type of bill where it's paid at taxes, it's going to be great, right? Because you don't have to worry about rollout. It's going to be tax based, and then you get your house no matter what. So, that's a bonus there too. And then you don't have to worry about, finding an even higher competitive buyer pool. Currently right now, all the resale inventory is really low. I think it's like 1.2 the last time I checked. And then the new construction are now starting to do bids on lots. So depending on the builder and depending on the neighborhood, you may or may not be there. So keep that in mind, guys. Thanks again for watching. If you haven't subscribed and you want more videos like this, please comment below. It really helps the algorithm, and we're now up to about 21 subscribers, which is pretty crazy given this channel is only a few months old. So thanks again for watching. My contact information will be below. My name is George Gonzalez. I'm a Houston realtor, Houston expert, and helping you move to Houston. Peace.